everybody. This is the second episode of Apex Solo Q. I hope everybody's doing well. At the time of recording, it is 1 in the morning, so I am somewhat tired. And I forgot to put myself in a party before doing this, so everybody in-game will hear me, and I don't want that. So sorry everybody, I didn't really plan this ahead. I just started it because I wanted to talk. Alright, now we're in. Okay, so yeah, this second episode, instead of just talking of what I have in mind, I'm just going to talk about different life experience that I had and how I dealt with them. And, you know, and such, I think is going to be pretty relaxed, not going to be as long as the last one. It's going to be more about how, how I live my life until now. And how I dealt with certain subjects, and how I dealt with certain situations in my life, and I feel like it might help others, and I might reflect on how I dealt with those now and realize that maybe I could do better. The Pathfinder disconnected. This is going to be a short game since we're landing fragment, whatever. Alright, so first subject today is going to be grief and how I dealt with the loss of others in the past. It is honestly a pretty, how can I say, heavy subject. Of course it is, you know. Loss is a part of everybody's life at some point, except if you die really early, and that's honestly just sad. So yeah, how to deal with losing people you love. And the second topic I had in mind was how to deal with situations where your friends kind of, how can I put it? How to deal in situations where your friends are not with you, basically. Where your friends turn against you, and how, how to deal with that, like, load. So these are the two ideas I had in mind. Honestly, I'm probably going to talk about more. And yeah, so let's get right into it. Yeah, grief, how to deal with the loss of others. Before I explain how I dealt with it, it's kind of important to explain in what situation I experienced grief. That's a guy. It is a guy. I'm taking shots. So I'm really bad right now. I'm getting pretty tired. So yeah, so in this situation, I lost my aunt a few years ago, and I think it's important to explain my relationship with my aunt, how it was, and how that affects how I felt grief and how I dealt with it. My aunt had a cancer when I was very young. I was 4, and she had her first cancer. It was breast cancer. And then after some time, she cut all ties with my family. Because, not only with my family, but with the entirety of the family. Not just like, my dad and my mom and all that, like my entire family. Just cut all ties with everybody, because she had some differences with my grandmother, and that made it so she didn't want my grandmother to be around her son, my cousin. We could call him Tony. So she didn't want my grandmother around Tony, because she didn't like my grandmother. She didn't like how she dealt with things and how she was indecisive about a lot of things. And at one point she had too much, and she just cut all ties with my family altogether. I knew she existed, and she left when I was 4, and the time after that, when I met her for this, like, the second time in my life was, no, not the second time, for like the second half of my life, I was 14. Not 14, 13 actually. So when for a big period of my life, I didn't know her. She had a cancer while she was away from my family. So when she like rekindled with my family, we didn't know she had a cancer. And when she told us, we were all very surprised. And she managed with that cancer alone with her son, which was incredible to me, and still is incredible to me to this day. So that then I spent the next 4 years of my life enjoying her presence and learning to know her, and just to see how she was a great woman. She was an acupuncturist. She was a single mother taking care of her son, and she was a very strong woman. I loved her to death. And what happened was, after a certain time, there was other signs of another cancer coming back. And what happened with that was so we knew that this cancer would be way more hardcore, because what happened was, when you have a first cancer, you might have a second one after, because there's still some cells that have the same tendency of like cancer cells. So when we learned that she had another one, we knew that she might not live through that one. And at first it was only in one part of the body, and then we would like, yeah, there's like half chance that she survives. And then it became a globalized cancer that went into her entire body through her blood, and then we knew it was completely over. There was almost no chances of her surviving. Just still tried her best. She wanted to live, and just arrived at one point that we knew it was too late. We knew she would die eventually. The thing is, when she died, it was actually an injection, because she just didn't want to live in that pain anymore. But it's just that happened way sooner than all of us expected. My family, my family saw the entirety of the family, especially my cousin. My cousin lived with my aunt his entire life, and she was basically the only parent he ever had. And when she died, it was a massive hit to him. I wasn't there in the hospital when she died. I didn't want to go. Now looking back at it, I should have went, just for her to see me one last time. But I was afraid of the pain. I was afraid of seeing her actually die in front of me. And I did the coward choice of not going.
This is only the beginning.
So she died in October of last year. So it's gonna soon be a year. I'm gonna visit her grave soon.
Hey, you did good. I think you did good. I mean, maybe not that good after all.
So she died. No, actually, she died last summer, but we had her ceremony for her death last October.
I had a job to do.
And yeah, and I guess on the spot when she died, I wasn't there, so I didn't really realize how much her loss would affect me. But what happened was, when we went to the ceremony soon after, I don't know what this lifeline is doing. I guess we're just not dropping. I'll go straight. Is she actually just playing the game? She is going tree. Okay, I'll go with her. So yeah, it didn't really hit me, until way later. It really hit me hard when we used to see my little family and my aunt. We would see each other once a month, and then just so happened that we just stopped having those interactions, and I started missing them. And at one point, my cousin started coming over every week. He didn't have any family, and we didn't want him to deal with the grief all alone. And then he was always alone at our place, and then that just hit me. I'll never see that person that I started to enjoy talking to and just living with. It just hurt. And then later on, the moment that hurt me the most was, very sincerely, when we had the ceremony. because it wasn't just me being hurt, it was my entire family. And everybody that does like the little speech before the end of the ceremony. I was sitting next to my cousin, and I could see he was hurting awfully. He dealt with the grief of being alone at home for a long time and not having a mother anymore, and then just he's seeing everybody that cared about her, that made him cry. It was the first time and last time I saw him cry in my life. So that just made it so, honestly, I was sad seeing all those people that cared so much about my aunt. I felt bad about, honestly, not really realizing before how much I missed her and how much I loved that person. And now when it hit me, I felt awful. So yeah, so that was, like, I guess you could say the backstory to it. And now how I dealt with this, that's that grief. So when my aunt died, not much grief. I guess because I was in denial. Since I wasn't there, I just didn't acknowledge it really. But when I did acknowledge it, that hurt a lot. And the thing is, when it started hurting me the most was everybody, I don't want to say moved on, but it wasn't, like, to tell you, it was like a few months that she had actually died. And only then I started feeling grief. So, since I felt very guilty about that, I felt like I should have felt more grief. I felt like I should have cared more. That made me feel awful about myself. And I just didn't talk to anybody about how bad I felt about what happened. Luckily, that grief faded away relatively quickly. It's not because I didn't care, it's just that I found ways to cope. And, yeah. So, now into how I coped with it. I didn't really. That's, I guess you could say, the special thing. I didn't really talk to anybody about it. I just kind of lived with it for a while. I guess at one point I realized that whatever happened, she was gone. So I decided to honor her instead of regretting. That was my way of seeing it. I was just like, well, that person I loved so much is now gone. I cannot do anything to bring her back. So I might as well honor what she stood for and how I saw her. And in that aspect, to me, she was the strongest woman I've ever knew. So I decided to honor that, my vision of her, by trying to be strong. And I imagine me talking to her a few times just to, just to feel better about myself, and how she would try and tell me, you just need to live through it. She lost her husband, and she didn't lose him, actually. He didn't die, but he ran away with another woman, and she was left alone with my cousin. She dealt with it, and she was very strong about it. And I decided that I wanted to honor her, and by being such a strong person, that I know she would say that that was such a small thing, it was only her dying, and she would want me to go forward with life and not dwell on it too long, and not just not be able to live my life because of that. I felt like she would feel even worse if she made my life harder on me. So what I did after that was I found ways to try and deal with the sadness I felt, and Jesus Christ, a lot of people here. So that happened. So that was like my first way to, I guess, deal with it. I told myself that she would prefer me not dwelling on it. So that made it so I was like, if I dwell on it, I'm gonna hurt her memory.
unleashing my singularity.
So by telling myself that, I force myself to be strong about this situation, right? That was a shit game once again. I think my tiredness is showing on my gameplay. But honestly, tonight I'm not really here for the gameplay. I don't really care about my rank. This season's gonna reset in a few hours. So that was my first coping technique, and honestly, it's not gonna work for everybody, of course. Like, if it was, to me, it's gonna sound bad when I say that, but it was only my aunt, right? I was close to her and I loved her to death, but I didn't spend all my days with her. For example, my cousin, I don't think that was the, like, he couldn't just do that and cope with it. So I really got over her death just by, I mean, right, when the grief really hit me was really after the, like, the funeral ceremony thing. And so what happened was, after hearing everybody, like, caring about her and everything, I was really down bad, I guess you could say. And yeah, so first of all, I told myself that she wouldn't want anybody to, like, care that much. She was really that kind of person that was like, yeah, no, don't care about me dying. Everybody knew that it was gonna happen, so I thought she would be the kind of person to say, I thought all of you would understand that I would have died eventually from this, so I thought all of you should be stronger by now. So by telling myself that and convincing myself of that, it helped me just move on. And I remember very vividly that whole day. When we went to the funeral, when we arrived, and I didn't feel any grief yet, and when I left that place, I was a wreck. I stopped crying and everything, but I was just sitting in the car on the way back, me and my cousin, one next to one another in the back seats, just not talking. When we would normally always have something to talk about, that was one of the only times we were in the car together, not just being empty. And I remember when we came into the funeral ceremony, we were listening to that one song, Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. Great song, by the way. And yeah, that song is so strongly now associated with her death that now when I think of her, I just listen to that song. And honestly, I just listened to that song after the funeral, and I felt really close to her in some way. I hate people that punch like that as soon as they land. That's so AIDS. So listening to that song helped me too. In general, I'm somebody that copes with emotions with just songs in general, with music, like in the larger aspect. All of us fucking died? Jesus Christ. No, I might stick to just casuals. I'm tired of losing my rank if I don't really care about it. It hurts my very poor pride. And so yeah, I'm somebody that copes with music a lot. Just any emotions that I don't want, I just listen to music to just evacuate it. So that just made it so this would do if it's gonna be even more laid back. So since I was somebody that really coped with it, even Sweater Weather is a very, like, I want to say melancholic song, but it's kind of like, it's really hard to explain. But when you hear it, that just encapsulated everything that I felt. And just listening to that song made me feel closer to her and made me less sad. The last thing I did was, I'm not somebody that believes in any superior powers and no religions, no beliefs of any of that kind. But that was honestly the only moment in my life that I prayed to anything, not to God, not to Allah or any of that, not to anything in particular. I just prayed. I'm nicking with. Is my teammate really named Toe Slurper? Oh God, he is. It was the only time in my life that I prayed genuinely, and I basically, I was trying to like tell if there was any superior power, and I really wish that they would see all the good in her, and that she would have a fulfilled life after, because I felt like she really deserved it. Life didn't go easy on her. At any given turn, it was hard, and I wanted her to be as happy as she could if there was anything after. So that, yeah, it was the only time in my life that I prayed, and that, I want to say that helped me cope. I just felt that gave me closure, because after I just felt after I just came to the point where it wasn't grief anymore, it was just acceptance. I did that for the last closure. Then after that, it was just part of my life that my aunt died. Also, just in the immediate, like directly after the ceremony, I came back home, and it's gonna sound bad, but I played games. I feel like games do a lot of things for your life, right? And one of the great things it did for me was changing the ideas that I had, but since it was a game I already played, I could just like think about whatever while just also having like something in the background. Change my ideas a little bit. And
I claim this banner in the name of science.
wait, is there somebody on this side? I don't care. I shall res my teammate because I'm a good guy. So yeah, so if anybody's interested, I was playing The Witcher 3 on a second run, second run of it in Death March. And if anybody played that game, I remember right before going to bed, and I remember praying right before going to bed. It was all in one day. That's why my grief period wasn't that long. I just, right before going to bed, I was doing that one mission where you're racing in Skellige up the, you know, with the lady, you can make them into the queen. I was doing the mission where you're doing the race for whatever reason. I don't remember why it was. So I was doing that mission, and just that run through the snow was so great to me. I don't know why. It just made me feel so nostalgic.
Shields recharging.
God damn, I'm clutching up today. God.
The whole squad. And the new kill leader is me. Of course. 'Twas written in the stars.
So
Rings near, got 45 seconds.
yeah.
Plenty of
And
time
that just encapsulated how I felt. Like, so talking about it, I'm realizing that a lot of the things that I did to help me cope were just encapsulating all the emotions I had into a different medium. On one part it was video games, and on the other it was fucking music. So yeah, I guess that gives a pretty good view of how I cope with anything, honestly. It's just through different mediums. Stop thinking about it, and I just put my emotions into something else. And honestly, it's gonna sound really cringy, but you know, I felt like those games understood, and how that music understood how I felt. And it just really touched me. So yeah, that's how I dealt with the grief of losing my aunt. So to really just like put it into fewer words than the last like 20 minutes I've been talking is really like the general idea is just encapsulating all my emotions into a different medium. To like, I guess, so I feel understood, but also to like get some distance from it. It feels less personal when you do that. But like the 3 points I brought up was the first one was how I told myself that my aunt wouldn't want me to feel that way. She wouldn't want me to feel and grieve on her death for too long. Convince myself of that. So that was the first point. Then I talked about how I listened to music that made me feel more like understood, I guess. It made me understand my emotions more. Any mediums, honestly, would just helps a lot. The last one was to get my closure. I prayed. Even if I don't really believe in anything in my everyday life, I felt like praying in that moment was, you know, the right thing to do. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Because it's funny, because I always had the impression that religion in general was just like a way of getting further away from everything, because you just say, oh no, it's it's in God's hands. You know, it's not my problem anymore. God will take care of it, whatever. And honestly, that's what I did with it. I was kind of in a corner, and I felt like this was the last thing I could do. So yeah, that is the end of the topic about grief. You know, how I dealt with it, and how maybe some of you guys, if any of you guys are living through grief, maybe that can help you. I'm not saying I'm a big savant in the subject, of course I'm not, but if I ever learn that these dumb videos I'm making pretty much only for myself help somebody else, that wouldn't make my day, that wouldn't make, not my week, that would make my month. So yeah, my throat is getting sore from talking, so sore from, if you guys saw the first episode of this series, I filmed it earlier today. By the way, today was kind of a sucky day, so I really feel like talking about it, a lot of things. Because I forgot one of the works I was supposed to give back to my teacher today, so I'm going to lose some points for that. Even if I did it, I just forgot it because I left home too quickly. So yeah, now I feel like talking, and you know, when you feel like talking, just talk. And in these moments, I'm not even talking to anybody. I mean, I'm not talking to anybody directly, but I feel like I'm talking to just the audience. You know, that big idea of I'm talking to somebody I just don't know yet. And now the second point, that's gonna hit closer to home, because I know a lot of my friends watch this, and that's really tied into them. Just a warning before that, if any of you guys are watching it, I love you guys. I'm not like dwelling on that part. I just feel like I could talk to people about it and they could get something out of it. I'm not holding any grudges against you guys. I just feel like talking about it because I thought about it like yesterday, and I really feel like I want to just talk about it right now. So I told you guys earlier in this episode that I wanted to talk about relationships with your friends, and sometimes how they treat you and how to deal with that. That is an experience that is way more vivid in my mind than grieving for my aunt, because grieving for my aunt, I tried to bury it deep inside of my core. I didn't want to think about it anymore. That situation I'm going to talk to you guys about is something that I live with every day, and I feel like it taught me a lesson, and that I should apply it to my everyday life. That's why it's always on my mind to a certain aspect, to a certain point, you know. Not always on my mind, like I'm always like angry about it, of course, but I keep it always in the back of my mind somewhere. So, to like throw back and put you guys into my situation back then. I was in my fourth year of high school in Quebec. We have 5 years of high school, so it was the year before my last year of high school. And I was It was a weird year because it was the year where we could start having different classes. You could choose, because before that it was just like, yeah, you have this or that. No, it's not even that, you just had your classes. Meanwhile, secondary 4, you could choose if you wanted enriched math or enriched science and such. So it was like a divide with my friends, and because everybody wanted to do different things, and we like separated from each other. So that was like the first like part of it. Then some of my friends started hanging out with different people. What I mean by different people is just like people that kind of different from how I was, you know. It's kind of like, I guess you could say like the skater boys that kind of like to mess around and just like, you know, fuck the 30, yay, we were just gonna do this just because to annoy the personnel and everything. And I wasn't like that. I'm way more of like a just, I don't want to be in trouble type of guy. I don't like to confrontation at all. So, you know, that wasn't for me. I really didn't want to deal with that. So some of my friends were hanging out with those guys, and I didn't like it, but I didn't have anybody else to hang out with, so I just stuck around. And that led to me being a little bullied by the guys in that group, especially one guy. The others I knew from way back. One of the guys that was like new to that gang just took fun making fun of me. And I'm not going to name him, of course. That's not going to bring anything to the conversation. So, oi. Sorry, Lifeline. I got in your way. And, yeah. So that, and then it just came to a point where some of my friends that were part of that, like, smaller gang kind of got farther and farther away from me. And I was still, like, hanging out with them just because I didn't have anybody else to hang out with during, you know, dinner and such. Lunch, sorry. And, yeah, it just came to a point where I started getting ignored by some of my friends because they, like, wanted to get closer to the others. And they felt like me being... Holy shit, that hurts. They felt like me being with them... They didn't want me to be with them just because I didn't do anything, and they just felt like I wasn't in my spot. But also I learned later that they didn't want me to get hurt more. At that point I didn't know. That was more retrospection, talking with them later, after the whole situation was sorted out. But apparently they wanted me to get hurt more. And it was benevolent in some aspect of it, but they just isolated me a lot. They just pushed me away from everything else, from a lot of my friends. And one of the ways I kept up with my friend was through PS4 parties. But what happened was they didn't want me in the parties. They didn't want to talk to me. So I got further away, not only from the people that were part of that small gang, but also from everybody else of my friends. So that time of my life really sucked. I was trying to get closer to other people, didn't want to get closer to other people. I felt like my friends, I was so great with them before, and I didn't understand what went wrong. And that just made me feel bad, like really bad. And at one point, I really got fed up with it. I talked to one of my friends that moved on to the other gang, and I explained to him that I really wanted closure. I was really done with like that half-ass game of just, I joined a party and all of them would mute me just because they didn't want to talk to me. I just felt so alone that I just wanted closure. I didn't want all that half-ass stuff. I wanted them to tell me straight up what they wanted from me, and they just said, I want you away from us. And that's pretty much how they explained it back then. No, I want you away from us now. They didn't explain to me that they wanted that from me. They didn't explain any of that to me. And back then that hurt me like hell. I thought I wasn't good enough, and that I could have just been closer to them if I wasn't just such a pussy and such. And then I was so fed up with it that I just cut all ties with everybody, all my friends, not only the ones that went to that other gang, everybody. and I took a break pretty much at the same time as COVID hit. For 6 months, I was all alone in COVID. Holy... Oh, they have a Spitfire. Ooh, okay. So, I felt bad about that. And so that's why the first lockdown was the worst time of my life. It was the biggest down that I've ever lived through. Because I really didn't have any friends. All of them, right before confinement, pretty much denied me and told me they didn't want to be around me anymore. And then I decided to dip. So I lived through my confinement all alone, coping with doing schoolwork and such, and you know, yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Looking back on those times, of course I came out a stronger person, and I came out with a stronger relationship with my friends. I'm gonna get to that a little bit later, but it was awful. And some of my friends tried to contact me through all of that because I shut down everything from them. When I mean everything, Instagram, PS4, games, anything, I just was alone. And I deleted Instagram, and when I reinstalled it at one point, just not for the to text them or anything, just, you know, because Instagram is fun to just be on when you have nothing to do. A lot of them texted me in the meanwhile to know what was up with me, and I realized they still cared about me, but I thought they cared about me just to make sure I didn't do anything bad to me, not because they wanted me as a friend. So I tried to only see the bad in it, basically. So yeah, and I rekindled with them 6 months later when I had a job in the meantime. I mean, for a week I had a job, and I thought I was always going to do for the whole summer. And I thought, you know, I was just going to do that for the entire summer, and then I was going to come back to school, and then maybe I'm going to have a conversation with them. But my job fired me after a month, why am I saying a week? It was even worse. On the day of my birthday too. So I was just really down bad, and at a point I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to like just get closure in that situation, not have that weight on me anymore. And if they don't want me back, they won't have me back, and we're gonna get closure on that. And if they want me back, I might consider it. And that's exactly what I did, basically. I re-plugged in my PS4.
Shall we head this way, darlings?
And what happened basically was, yeah, so I reinstalled my PS4. Everything was fine and dandy. And I was lucky because that first night I reinstalled my PS4 and everything, none of the guys that were part of the other gang were there. So it was just really me and like some of my friends that didn't do anything. That were more like, that didn't hurt me in any ways. That were just like collateral damage from this situation. So I just talked to them about what happened and what I was doing for that whole time. And yeah, so I managed to rekindle with them, and a lot of the main, I guess you could say, culprits of that situation. I had a real good conversation with a lot of them, and basically what they realized is, I mean, at least what they told me is they realized that they thought they were in the wrong by how they handled the situation. Because basically what happened was they fell out of like that one group that they were trying to hard to be part of, that they kind of abandoned me for. They fell off of them because during confinement all of them matured up in a certain aspect, and they realized that what they were doing didn't bring them any joy. Being dickheads, they didn't enjoy that, and that's why they tried to rekindle with me, and they were very sorry for what happened. So in that aspect, you know, I was kind of happy that all of that moved on, and now I'm happy with the situation I'm in with those same friends.
Down. Enemy removed.
Good job.
Reloading.
I'm down.
Reloading.
They got me. I'm down.
No more numpties.
So yeah, but looking back on this situation, right, that whole, like, my friends abandoning me type situation, I realized I really handled it awfully. Like, really, just the completely wrong way. Instead of just letting them having their way, I should have just completely just went in and told them what I thought of the situation, and
Give my shields a recharge.
I should have known how much they cared about me more. Should have had more faith in them, but how they showed it to me back then, I really didn't have any, like, trust and any. I felt like they just left me behind, and when they explained it to me after, it was kind of for my own good. They felt like I wasn't happy in that group, and it was true, I wasn't happy in that group. I was even more unhappy for them to leave me behind, though, but that's, you know, whatever. Sorry for the constant coughing. My throat is really sore.
Care package incoming. Y'all learned this.
So yeah, I should have more faith in them, but how they presented me back then, that didn't let me have any faith in them.
Ammo up.
So if you're ever in that situation where your friends are leaving you behind, I feel like you shouldn't wait for them to basically tell you to get away. Do it for your own self and just leave them behind. I'm not saying that just because, you know, it's gonna hurt less, but also it's gonna send a message to them. But you're gonna just feel better about yourself also in this situation if you leave them behind. Because you're gonna say, I did it for myself. Sorry, Bangalore. Is that the fucking champ squad? It's not. Having a charge rifle wasn't good for that situation. So yeah, I mean, is there really a way to handle those types of situations right all the time? No, of course there's not. I mean, it depends how much you care about the people in question. But realizing that you should leave them behind is like a big first step. In that situation, I should realize I should have left them behind a long time ago, and I waited until somebody straight up told me. That hurt me more. And honestly, just putting some distance between you and, like, that group in question, if that ever happens, is the best way to go. And also, just being completely recluse also during that time is awful. Don't do that. Don't never be alone if you can. Of course, it's not always easy to be always with people. But also, I mean, my situation with COVID and everything, that made it way harder to be with people, kindle with people. But you know, looking back, there was a lot of ways to keep up with other people than them. I just didn't see it. I didn't want to see it.
Here's a tip. Know what you're doing. Generations of IMC military
But at
training
least
in my
those
blood.
situations
That's
always
what
bring you
show up
something,
with.
right? In my case, it brought me like a lot of my now a lot of the coping mechanisms I have and I know about now are from that time. But also a lot of the I learned a lot about myself and what I enjoyed in that time because I had so much time to myself that I needed to know what I wanted to do with my time, or else, you know, I would have fucking been bored all the time.
Anyone need a pick-me-up? Firing.
That was a funny fucking little thing with that fucking other Bangalore. And so yeah. Of course, with all experiences in life, I mean, I guess now we're gonna move on to a more like, not really what happened to me, happened to everybody in life. That is, you know, like very traumatizing experiences in general. I wouldn't say I was traumatized by that situation, but that really affected me really hard. So how to deal with traumatizing situations and traumas, and once again, no right answer for everybody. Of course, you can't just tell everybody to do the same thing, or else nobody would have traumas in life. But am I with the same guy from last game? I am. Love you, Patchy Cannoli. We're not gonna die the same way today, boy.
Let's get this over with. Shop open soon and I haven't had lunch yet.
Sorry. But right now, I'm gonna once again mention my girlfriend. I know she watches these. Oh no, it is not the same guy from last game. I am capping. I know you watch these, and I'm gonna use you as an example. I'm not gonna go in details, of course. I don't want everybody to know your personal life. But basically, my girlfriend had a lot of experiences that left, I guess you could say, emotional scars in her. And it was really heartbreaking because before we knew each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, we knew each other as, you know, pretty good friends. On the student exchange that I mentioned on the last episode, if you saw that one. We met then, and I got to know her and got to know about these experiences before we became as close as girlfriend and boyfriend. And that was really heartbreaking back then. She was basically explaining to me how she had experiences that really made her doubt people. Because without, of course, without like basically explaining exactly what happened, because I don't want to expose her like that, I can just quickly explain like how that affected her. That's like the best way I could like give you guys a good idea. Basically, like, to keep it in the lamest terms and not just cap my head off, she got backstabbed by her friends and she got dumped by her boyfriend in pretty awful ways. I love getting res for that shit. I love it so much. And so both of these situations made her, I guess, it isolated her socially very hard. Also made her, I guess, doubt people. No, it makes you believe everybody is bad. Since she had that belief. Oh, people. God, the R99 is so fucking good. I hate it. No, I'm just gonna die in that corner here. Whatever. So she had pretty bad experiences in life. And right now, like, now that I know about that, me and her are really trying our ass off to really just take care of those traumas. And honestly, right now my goal is to start to have a better life. Because, you know, you never know in life what's gonna happen with relationships and such. Both of us think that we're gonna be together for our entire lives. We don't know if that's gonna be a fact. And I always try and keep a rational way of thinking about things and how we might not be together for entire lives for different reasons. And right now, my goal is really to make her life a better experience. Because right now, we both started college at the same time, and that made it even harder for her. She doesn't have an easy family situation either. And all that together that makes it so she has, I guess you could say she's living life in one of the hardest difficulties possible. So right now, me and her, yeah, we're trying to deal with those traumas, and I guess I could say how I see dealing with traumas can be. And right now, I see myself, and for her at least, as a, in French we call it a béquille. It's a something you use when you're limping and you have something with your leg. An accident is in the other leg. I like to see myself as that for her right now. I'm like a replacement for a lot of these social interactions a human should have. I'm just a replacement for that for the moment until she's like feels good enough to get out there and really try and deal with people more head-on future. And I'm basically I'm if you want, I'm like kind of like the training ground for her. That's how I see myself. Actually, both of us love each other to death. We love each other very hard. And it's just for everything like trauma related, I see myself as like, yeah, kind of like a helper, so she can feel better about herself later on, and that she won't rely on me as much as she is now, because maybe she doesn't want to admit it, but I feel like she's relying on me heavily right now for those situations, and I want her to be able to be independent, you know.
Level 3. You'll need one of these if you're bleeding out.
Naturally, it's hard to deal with traumas. I am not denying that. I didn't have that many traumas in my life. I don't know how it feels, but from what she told me and what I've been living, because you know we've been together for a month. But I've known a lot about her situation, and honestly, I know it must be hell.
Shotgun bolt here. Level 2.
Like, and the worst type of hell to live with every day. That's why I don't want to say I feel pity for her. That's not true. I don't pity her, but I just want to do everything in my power to make it better for her. That's why sometimes I'm sacrificing some things that are more in my comfort zone for her own good, because I basically tell myself she's never in a comfort zone. She doesn't have that comfort zone right now. She of course she does have some things that make her feel more comfortable, but she doesn't really feel always good about something. So I'm really trying my butt off to make her life a better place. And now, yeah, traumas. How I can see that you can deal with. I didn't mention that ever to anybody in my life, so that's an exclusive news for this little outlet I have. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of I mentioned in my last episode that I had a whole thing with a guidance counselor since I switched program. And this same man has a podcast, and it is all acts towards, you know, how to better yourself. And I listened to a lot of his episodes about traumas and how to deal with stress and stuff, and that was super interesting to me. And I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but I like how he was explaining how stress could end up with I can end up with stress and what brings it on. It was funny because I was thinking about my girlfriend when I was listening to that, and I was like, she has all those. Like, he named 4 things, made an acronym. I was like, she has all 4 of those. Like, a lot. For different reasons, of course. I don't have a phoenix, that's bad. Such as, was just like the 4 factors that can bring stress, like not being, like novelty, your ego, like your ego is endangered, a feeling of control on your situation, and one last thing, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, she doesn't feel any of those, and that's when I realized, like, why she has so much anxiety and stress is really just because, not only because of her traumas, but right now, she's a very sensitive person also, so she really feels it way more than, like, for example, I do. And all of those, like, things makes it so she feels a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, and that is making life even harder for her. She doesn't have, like, the social aspect of, like, the coping mechanism. She doesn't have that because, you know, she has other experiences, and yeah. So I guess right now how I could tell people the coping mechanisms is just, honestly, just let other people know about it. Let other people care for you. And that's especially towards my other men listening to that shit, alright? I know how we've been... I don't want to sound like I'm elitist or whatever. Even I was raised that way, but... You know that, like, whole belief that man should be stoic. Keep it to yourself or you're a pussy. That type of mentality. Talking about things that I've lived through just to my girlfriend or to anybody makes it so much better. Like, infinitely better. And also let other people care for you, please. Just let others care for you, let others give you things, and let others worry about you.
Hold your breath.
You might feel bad at first, right? Because you're like, it's my problem, I should deal with it. But it's not. By you thinking that way, you make others worry more, and it's just like a vicious cycle. If they know something is on your mind and it hurts you, and you don't tell them and you keep it to yourself, they're gonna hurt. They're gonna be very hurt. That it's like you don't think about them, and then they're gonna feel like you don't trust them enough to entrust them with your situation, and it's just gonna be a cycle of bad shit. So yeah, I guess how to cope with traumas. Step 1, talk to others. Let others care. You're gonna feel better. And the second way is, honestly, you don't need to see like a big therapist or whatever, right? If you talk to others about it, your friends for example, but also listen to podcasts. It's gonna sound really fucking dumb, right? Just listen to podcasts and yeah, it's gonna help you. But it will. Just hearing somebody talk about it, these dudes are crazy. What the hell? Oh, okay. Yeah. Has been Apex Predator for 3 fucking seasons. Okay. Ooh, my homie was trying to God. And yeah, so listening to the podcast, woohoo, yo, big news. Honestly, before going to therapy, if you just hear a random person talking about it online, but you feel like it's touching you, it's gonna make you feel understood. And I can refer to you guys the podcast I was listening to if you want. It's in French. I know I'm doing these in English, but I think everybody that was watching these, like my close friend and all my close friends, are able to speak French pretty decently and understand it. It's called Les Ambitieux, The Ambitious, by Mathieu Guenet, which was my guidance counselor. Big ups to that guy. Great guy. Love that guy. Great guidance counselor and also great podcast doer. He just presents situations and such. And yeah, it's great. just make me feel understood when I listen to them and make me understand the situation that my girlfriend was going through a little better. So yeah, podcasts, they're great. They're not only for entertainment, they're also to make yourself a better person and make you feel more sane. I know it's not groundbreaking, it's just my vision of it. Honestly, if it was groundbreaking, I would make a fucking whole book about it and make millions. But I'm still just a poor 17-year-old, so you know I didn't find anything groundbreaking, right? Yeah. So, yeah, traumas, they suck. If anybody of y'all have traumas, I feel for you. I don't feel for you because I've had them, I feel for you because I'm very close with somebody that has been living with those for so long. And yeah, it's hard to talk about it. I know some people, just talking about it is hard, but also just like, not only just because like you don't want to talk about it for that. It's hard to explain what I want to say. Conveying my emotions is hard, man. Leave me a few seconds. It's some people don't want the others' pity, right? They're like, yeah, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want people to worry about me. Let people please worry about you. They're gonna feel fucking awful. I feel bad if my like girlfriend didn't want to talk to me about that shit. I'm playing fucking Path, not Horizon. Shit. Hey, that's my girl, Valk. Love that. Get it, girl. Dude, my girl is cracked. God. So yeah, that is my little rant about traumas. Once again, boys, I never lived any of those, alright? So don't expect me to tell you how to live your life right. I don't know. Live it the way you want, but please don't deal with trauma alone. That's like the worst thing ever. Smiter and clutch up, Valk. I love you so much. I'm here for you, girl.
Under fire.
Jesus, getting chopper from like downtown LA. So yeah, what else could I talk about as a last subject before I end this stream and go to bed? Let me think about it for a few seconds, because right now I'm ranting about life experiences that are not forcefully in the near present, like last episode. Near present, I'm dumb. Like, in the near past. Yeah, well, whatever. Other life experiences.
Lucky us, we are already inside the ring.
What could I talk about? I'm really trying hard, guys.
Shotgun bolt here. Level 3. Thanks a bunch.
You're welcome. I love you too.
Fuck. I'm really trying fucking to think about something. I really can't find anything.
Shield cell here.
I feel really dumb right now.
Incoming care package. Pro tip.
Let me think about it. 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 Something that could affect people that are watching this.
I've got an Evo shield here. It's cool. Level 3.
I guess we could talk about, you know what? As a happy-go-lucky subject to end this, I shall talk about one of the pastimes I have, and it's really simple. It's called anime, boys. Yeah, some of y'all are gonna hate me for talking about that in here, because some of y'all don't like it. I already know it, but I don't care. That's what I want to talk about right now. Yeah, anime, great medium. A lot of range also about what it talks about, and I guess.
Peacekeeper here.
Ooh, legendary. Ooh. I might take this sucker. God damn. That's so hot. Legendary Peacekeeper. So sorry, people. I cut myself off because Legendary Peacekeeper is that hot. Yeah. So there we go. Anime. Yeah, great medium. A lot of range in what it can talk about. And I enjoy it a lot. I guess, you know what, I'll talk about why the first time I watched anime, why, and who showed it to me. And that answer is very simple. It's my dad. Yeah, my dad was a weeb. Still is to a certain extent. So why did he know about anime so much? My dad went to Japan in around 2001. He went to Japan. He had a lot of, like, I guess you could say pen pals. I think that's the word. I'm really not sure. A lot of pen pals in Japan, so he has a lot of correspondence in Japan. So he knew a lot of people there. And when he went to visit, he always had people that would, like, take him on tours around, like, the place. So he had a blast there for 2 weeks. I think he would call it to this day his favorite trip ever. Luz is the one he talked to me the most. We have a whole, like, photo album at my place of, like, when he went there. And he really, like, gave me the Japan bug, I guess you could say. Because he loved it to death. And he started watching anime a little bit before going there because he knew it was part of the culture and he was interested about it. So that's why he, Ooh, that man is gonna get killed by falling, apparently. God.
Confirmed kill on whole squad.
Reloading.
So yeah, he gave me the Japan bug, you could call it, if you're a weirdo. And I guess I'm a weirdo then, whatever. So that happened, and he talked to me a lot about it when not when I was super young, naturally, but when I was a little older. But when I was young, how I was exposed to Japan was through anime. My dad bought a lot of it on VHS, and he showed it to me when I was younger. So, you know, for example, the ones I can think about, Tenshimuyo, Evangelion, for some god-awful reason. My dad showed that to me when I was 7. Never had that many nightmares in my life. But now it has a nostalgic aspect to it when I rewatch it to this day. And I goddamn love it. That Pat Labor also. All those, like, kind of retro anime shows, things. And yeah, he exposed that to me when I was pretty young. And I just stopped watching any after, you know, he stopped showing them to me when I was young. But I rekindled with it during quarantine later, when I was all alone, that I mentioned a few minutes ago. And I rekindled with it. I refound Evangelion and I rewatched it and I remember seeing it when I was younger. I was like super like, wow, I watched that, and then it just reawakened the interest I had for it.
Enemies are shooting at me.
Under fire.
Giving my shields a recharge.
And so that, and now I guess I can talk about the shows that I really like and why I like them so much. Actually, Ava, love that fucking show. When I watched it, I didn't like myself too much, so that helps. I mean, let's just say crack them. No, Justin B, no. No, we lost that, fuck. So, Evangelion. When I first watched that show, I didn't like myself, so of course that made it more enjoyable. The people that saw the show know that it's pretty like a show about the characters pretty much hating themselves and seeing all the bad in themselves and just being depressed about it. Even if it just has cool mechas and like, oh, cool mecha show, haha, guys. It's not. It's a very depressing show, honestly, and I love it to death though. But it has a nostalgic aspect to it. That's why if I try to see objectively, it's maybe not as good, but of course I'm gonna be subjective. Of course I'm not gonna like it more because, you know, I have experience with it when I was younger. That also the end of Evangelion, the movie. God, it's good. The rebuilds, I only watched the first rebuild. I should watch the 3 others. But God, it's the rebuild of Evangelion is honestly my favorite, one of my favorite movies ever. It's so good. It's like it's basically an alternative ending to the show, because the show, how it ended, a lot of people were disappointed with it, and I can understand it. I like the ending of the anime itself because of what it represents. Maybe not the form of it, but, you know, like the end point is, I like it a lot. But the end of Eva, man, it's flamboyant as an ending. It's packs a hell of a punch. I love it. That, so Ava is like kind of like the nostalgia depressed show. Now I'm gonna go to the depressed romance show, Nana. I have on my anime list. One of my only 10s ever. It is so goddamn awesome. First of all, Nana, to give you a quick synopsis, I didn't give you a synopsis for Ava just because it goes all over the place and I don't feel like the synopsis I would give would represent the show at all. The synopsis for Nana is gonna help a little bit to get people interested. So, Nana. 2 girls that both have the same name. They both have the name Nana, or 7 in English. It's kind of a weird name, but, you know, whatever. They both meet in a train on their way to Tokyo, and both of them are on that train to go live there. They're gonna have a new life in Tokyo, and they meet in the train. We learn, and like that's the first episode. They meet in the train and they talk and they have like a grand old time during the train ride. When they get to Tokyo, they separate because, you know, they got life to live. The life to live, whatever, blah blah blah. And then the few episodes after, we learn why they go there. One of the Nana, which I'm gonna refer to Hachi from now on because that's how she referred to later in the show. Hachi goes there to live with her boyfriend, and Nana, the other girl, is there to pursue her music career. Both of them think that they only met in the train, and that's where it ends. Little did they know that they're gonna both look at the same apartment. They both visit the same apartment at the same time. They meet again, and they're like, wow, you know, we are visiting the same place, and they become roommates. And now it's just the relationship between those two and the other cast. First of all, Nana is a big character show. The characters are, I ain't gonna lie, so well written, it's dumb. All of them, they are the most human characters I've ever seen in any anime. Because of how much, like, dumb things, but so human that they do. To me, it just made me enjoy the show so much. Also, the 2 main characters, the 2 Nanas. The Nana, not Hachi. So one of the 2 Nanas. is very punkish. I love her aesthetic, and also just her whole character is so great. And it's very romance based, and the vision of romance in that show is, it is not all pink. It is dark. For example, you know, Hachi, she came into Tokyo to live with her boyfriend. She learns that he has been cheating on her right in front of her face. She learns it right there. And he just tells it to her face. While he is with the other girl he is cheating on her with. And it hurts. Just watching that show hurts, but it hurts so good. I'm sounding like a masochist right now, but it just hurts so good because it hurts just not because of like some tearjerker, just because of how you feel like that could happen to you. And then you're like, fuck. God. I love it. And so that, but also, we got Nana. Also, the music in that show, ooh, buddy, love it. It has the whole punk rock, because the other Nana that does music, she does punk rock. So of course, we got like the music she's doing. Other bands, the entire cast of this show is so great. I love that. Just because the thing is, the supporting characters are still integral parts. They're not just like, ooh, side character, blaha. Where was he? I really don't like playing arenas. Why did I queue up for this? Oh, because it's shorter. Yeah, that's why I did it. So yeah, I love that show to death, Nana. If you want a romance show that is not dog shit, just go Nana. It's 50 episodes of pure joy. The only disappointment you have in that show is when you realize that there should be another season, but the manga on which it is based has been put on hiatus on an indefinite, like, extended amount of time since 2008, and it hasn't been continued yet. So yeah, that's honestly one of my biggest disappointments in life to this day, that I will never I might not see the end of Nana until in 20 years, because the author said she would finish it. She doesn't know when. That's the only problem. Now, on the more happy-go-lucky slice of life aspect of it, I will go with two shows. Fruits Basket, it's honestly, at that point, it's a phenomenon. One of the highest rated on my anime list, the last season of my Fruits Basket, the finale. Oof. I love that show. I'm not gonna go too much into it because I feel like it's known. I'm gonna go with some little bit more underground shit. Also, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. The whole Sakta and my relationship, god damn, I love it. I mean, the entire show is great. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, I also love that one. I'm gonna go with one that I have on my mind right now. It might not be on one of my all-time favorites, like, at all, but I'm thinking about it right now. Midori no Hibi, Midori Days. Super weird show. So wholesome, though. It's one of those shows that you just watch it and I just enjoy it a lot because of how just, like, you can watch, like, in one episode, have a good time, then just go to bed. Oh, after that, I'm going to talk about Mushishi. Yeah. Midori no Hibi. Basically, one guy gets rejected by all the girls he ever asked out, ever. So he's really down bad, you know? He wants to get a girlfriend badly. And he says that, haha, I'm gonna end high school with my right hand as my girlfriend, you know, tricking off, haha. So he says that as a joke, but he actually wakes up and his hand is now a girl. So now freaks the fuck out, doesn't know why the fuck that happened. And now it's him trying to live with that hand. So that hand, Midori, that's her name, we realize she is a human being. She just woke up being his hand now. She doesn't know why. She just is his hand now, and now he has a girl as his hand, and he doesn't know why. By the end of the show, it's resolved, but it's very wholesome. They're trying their best to live with that situation. Seeing them working it out is just so goddamn cute. So yeah, Middle Days, wholesome, great wholesome show. Now I'm gonna talk about Mushishi, the greatest laid-back show in my opinion ever. Mushishi basically is we follow one guy that takes care of mushis. What are oh my? I don't think this guy's on controller. He has way too good at tracking. Mushishi, yeah, one guy in his world, his alternative world. There are things called mushi. Mushi are like the in-between between nature itself and a living being. So like supernatural things that do a whole bunch of stuff.
Don't worry, my brother. I got you.
They can live in your ear and eat the sound, so you cannot hear anything. Ooh, my attack on that one is actually pretty nuts. They can impersonate snow, make you think it's snow, but it's not, and they might, they're not always bad, of course, but you know, they can be anything. They can be fake water that like gives you like a sickness. It can live in your pillow and make you have nightmares. That it feeds off like the bad energy of the nightmares, that type of stuff. It is, yeah, so in that world, that exists. And our main character basically takes care of that and helps humans with that. And so that, but if any of you guys played Mario Galaxy, it's basically Mario Galaxy, like, you know, that atmospheric void-like just feel, that's just Mushishi, but the entire show. It is the greatest show, you know, to watch like an episode before going to bed. Then you just feel relaxed. There's no really any action, just him taking care of the mushis, talking to people. It's just great, like relaxed show. If you're ever in a very stressful situation, right? Exams, whatever. Just watch an episode of Mushishi before going to bed every day. Change your mind off whatever's stressing you. But it won't hype you up, you know? It won't make you like, oh no, I can't go to bed if I'm that hyped up, I need to watch another episode. You watch one episode, and then you're like, ah. That goes full circle. Now I can go to bed feeling good about myself. Mushishi, awesome show. It's a shame I didn't really like the second season as much as I did the first one. But I love it so much, man. It's awesome. Super atmospheric, as I already said. So people, watch Mushishi before going to bed. There's like so many episodes and seasons and such that honestly you can just have fun with it. So I thought about Mushishi, Nana, Ava. I'm gonna go on my anime list right now to just see some shows that I really like that I can talk about. Because you guys already know this shit is not fucking planned. I just start recording and I go along as I go. Honestly, I'm kind of done with it. I could do this in a way smarter manner, but I don't because I'm a dumbass. I didn't have time to go on my anime list. I was too busy buying stuff for the game. Completed. Wow, wait. It's gonna need to wait after this game because right now I kinda don't wanna lose. But yeah, I'm gonna try and think about one anime that I might want to talk about right now.
Some materials for us.
I mean, more of a remark, not really an anime in particular. I'm not that big of a fan of shonen. You know, like the big name. You know the big names. Hunter x Hunter, Naruto, Dragon Ball. You know, those ones. Not a big fan. I just find them way too repetitive, or way too long for what, like, a show of way shorter could achieve. Well, if I'm to go with a genre, favorite isekai, let's do that one. RGB is toxic as fuck, Jesus. Favorite, favorite isekai, I would say Now and Then, Here and There. Love that one. Of course, I need to land in front of the Bangalore. Now and Then, Here and There, favorite isekai. It's an old isekai, ain't gonna lie. It's pretty old. Came out in the 90s, and it's basically a kid sees one girl that is being chased on Earth, and as she's being chased, she enters a portal, and he follows it, basically. And he realizes that in this world, it's like a big desert. And what basically happens is she can control water. So people want her for power. They want her for, what she can bring to the table. So that happens. And then what I like about those older, first of all, it's pretty gruesome. It doesn't mess around with dealing with, child soldiers and such. It's not messing around. It doesn't go light on it. That I liked. But also, with the older isekais in general, that belief that, like in the newer ones, it's like, my life used to be shit, but now in this new world, it's great. So I just want to stay here. Our homeboy in Now and Then, Here and There, he wants to go back home after that. But he wants to take care of everything in this world before he leaves. Which makes the show, in my opinion, when it ends, you feel like it ended the right way. He went back to his world, he took care of what he needed in this world, no trouble. Now I'm looking at my list. GTO. GTO. What a fucking awesome show. I know the manga is better. Everybody, people that read the manga, blah blah blah, it's better. Yeah, okay, I get it. I still like the fucking show. First of all, first opening, Driver's High. Interstellar bop. Fucking love that. And, just Onizuka is just a fun character. Not really much else to say about GTO. And just like, I enjoyed it, man. It was dumb fun. Hajime no Ippo, my favorite sports anime, shonen. One of the only shonens that I really enjoyed. One of the only times also where I really enjoy seeing like those super long, drawn-out fights for like a few episodes. Just because the KO is so good. When you get to that KO, you're like, oh my god, finally. It took 25 episodes, but now I have a raging hard-on because he just gave that fucker an uppercut. So that Jormungand, how did I not think of Jormungand? Jormungand, awesome fucking show. One of those, like military animes with like a lot of guns and such. We follow Yona, a child soldier, once again, as I mentioned, and Now and Then, Here and There. One of the other ones with child soldier. And our homeboy Yona is tasked as being a bodyguard of an arms dealer, even if he hates arms, arms dealers, because they basically put his country into ruin. And first season honestly is decent. The second season is where it's at. Basically, instead of like 1 or 2 episode arcs, it's like 2 big arcs for the entire season, which makes it like you're way more into it. But dude, basically what happens is Coco, so the arms dealer, hates war, but she's still dealing with arms. So everybody at first doesn't understand why she keeps saying she hates war. But then she goes on to that whole megalomaniac type fucking beat where she says she's gonna use all that money she made to just bring back human beings to like basically a stone age. So there won't be any like war anymore because nobody's gonna be able to go up to other people with nothing.
We're jump master, Newty.
So you see that whole way of thinking, and I was like, wow, that's like a super cool way to think about things.
I'm the jump master.
Also, Yona is not the only like bodyguard to Coco. There's like
Here we go.
they're like a team of 10, so they're just like
Here goes nothing.
the whole. Also, the characters are pretty fun and that too. So, all the shows that I really like all have fun characters. Because I know some people, they don't really care about the characters. They really much only care about what the characters do, not like how they're written. So I feel like it's always like an oversight. So that. And if you guys will let me, I will complete this by either dying or killing everybody else. Fucking cracked at this game.
Recharging my shields. I looted our teammate's banner.
Oh, this man was finished? That kind of sucks ass. Wait, now if you guys will let me real quick. I'm 1 damage off evolving this Evo shield. Just sit in this corner while I'm taking a medkit to see what other shows are good. Parasite. Love that show. Not much to say about it. What else? Ooh, okay, yeah, I just saw like 3 good ones at once. Jesus Christ. First of all, I'm gonna start with Phantom Requiem of the Phantom. Yes, the title repeats itself. I don't give a fuck. That's how it's called.
Evo shield here, level 2.
Requiem for the Phantom. What's up with that? Basically, it's basically a Hitman anime. Our homeboy is kidnapped and brainwashed into being a hitman for this one organization. And we just follow him for the entirety of the show. We have different interactions with the other hitman. Both of them are basically named after German numbers. So we got Zwei and Ein and Zwei. Ein being the first one, so the one, like, I guess we said our main character is senior. And we got at the same time the... Wait. Did I just have... Oh, wait, I do have that. Sorry, I'm kind of concentrating on 2 things at the same time. That's kind of dumb on my part. Okay, that's good. So that, and then we follow him and the other hitman on their shenanigans, on their life as hitmans, how they take care of contracts and stuff. Once again, soundtrack great. Character development is really a big part of that show. Some people might not like the ending. I liked it. It might be a deal breaker for some, but honestly, if you found that ending to be that unforgivable, you might be a crybaby. I'm just saying. That Spice and Wolf, not much to say except watch it. It's fucking. It's a romance show mixed with, like, economics. It might not sound interesting. It's mad interesting. It's like super fun. And it makes understanding some part of economics pretty interesting and like way less like complicated. I saw another name of a show on my phone. I'm too dumb to remember it. Oh, Nodame Cantabile, my favorite music show. It's classic music. And it's once again a romance show. I'm a sucker for romance, people. It mustn't be a surprise anymore. I like me my romance shows. Yeah, I guess that closes the anime topic. I guess I could go on and on about some shows that I like. I feel like nobody gives a fuck. Honestly, right now I'm pretty much just stretching it. I should end after this game. Because it is 3 in the morning. Holy shit, I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. Yeah, it is kind of like less cohesive as it was in the beginning now, wasn't it? Because I had 2 things that I wanted to talk about, then it just devolved into another one, and then now I'm just talking about anime. I guess the last subject that I could talk about that is really interesting to me is music. Music is honestly one of the most important things in my life. I cope with music. I listen to music all the time as soon as I have time. I'm bored, I listen to music. I'm not bored, I'm listening to music. I'm doing my homework, I'm listening to music in the bus. Talking to my parents even. Listening to music. All kinds of music too. I don't know if I could link my Spotify playlist in the you know, in the comments if anybody's interested. Nobody is. I know. I might just do it anyways. I might not too, I might forget because I'm a dumbass. So that, and this, I guess I could like tell you guys some good songs that I'm listening to right now. Right now I'm really big on Anait. She is a Lithuanian artist. She makes like some punk rock-ish music.
Killed an enemy.
So yeah, Anait. I can't say the name of her songs in fucking English because they're in fucking Cyrillic. I can't write. Ooh, my brain. I can't read Cyrillic, right? I know one of them is emptiness, but in Cyrillic, of course. And the other is I don't know. But her 2 most listened songs on Spotify, if anybody's interested. I love those really big time right now. Listening to those on repeat. Berrier Noir, love those guys too. I'm starting to get back to their stuff right now. French music, pretty much the only French artist I'm listening to religiously. Infected Mushrooms, great music. Oh, there's another team up there. That Metallica, my girlfriend made me love it, Metallica. I didn't really care for Metallica beforehand. And now I'm kind of into it, you know? Because, I mean, the only one that I really enjoy all the time is Nothing Else Matters. So it's one of their more, like, you know, laid-back ones, I guess you could say. like that song. Slow Dance by Swino Hair has a special place in my heart.
They're shooting at me. Name or numpties. They built 'em tougher in
For
my
a very
day.
simple reason. Me and my girlfriend like to fuck around and call it like her theme song. But it kind of is. It's... Oi, 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 oi. It's a song that both of us knew before we met each other, and we basically listened to it together one night. Kind of like that. Those that kind of wholesome moment.
Light feet, darlings. The ring's closed. Shooting at me. Unleashing the singularity.
Why are there like 25 fucking teams around here, man? Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. So I guess I could just finish talking about Slow Dance by Suino here. That's gonna also end my anime subject because I learned of that song and as the ending of an anime that I kind of like. You know what? I love it. Say I Love You is the anime, and it's the ending of that, so that's where I got it from. And me and my girlfriend, we were in Vancouver one night, and she basically came up to my place, and we just decided that, because we were talking about music beforehand, right? We were talking about our taste in music because she was always wearing T-shirts of certain bands, and we were talking about it, whatever. And we decided that we wanted to have like a like a listening party together, and we listened to music together in my living room in Vancouver. No, not my living room, naturally, my host family's. And we were just listening to music together, and I put that song on just because super like laid back song. Also the lyrics, they touch me in a certain way. You guys can just look it up. I'm not gonna explain the lyrics now. I don't give a fuck. So that, and I loved it. And she already knew about it, and it was one of the only songs that I put on that she already knew. She also knew the Ink Spots. The Ink Spots, also love those guys. And yeah, also that night, that song has a special place because it has like a special place on that night. And if not to sound corny, it was that night that I fell in love with her, because just sitting there enjoying something just together was really special. So, yeah, Soul Dance by Suno Hair is up there. One of those songs that, like Sweater Weather, because of my aunt, it has so much more meaning to me than to the average person. That's why I love it so much. So this completes this second episode of SoloQ Apex Talk About Shit, whatever. The gameplay on this one was probably dog shit. I'm very sorry for that. Tonight wasn't for the gameplay. It was more for the, for the talk. I hope you enjoyed it. If you watched the entire thing, honestly, you're a trooper, because I don't know how long this stream / video was. I think it has been 2 hours, or maybe even more, which is nuts. I didn't think it was gonna talk for that long. I thought it was gonna be another hour. Like last time, it wasn't. It was way more. So if you've been sitting through this entire thing, you're a trooper. I hope you're doing good. I hope my ramblings about bad shit didn't affect you guys too much. My goal is not for this type of show to be depressing. I'm just venting about stuff, and I hope you guys don't mind it. If you guys are watching it, you guys don't mind it, so fuck you. Yeah. So I hope everybody has a nice whatever they're doing. So nice morning, nice evening, nice afternoon, nice night, nice life. Hope everybody is, stay safe. And I'm gonna be back with another episode sooner than later. I might be on a different game also. If you guys, I was thinking about doing this type of show on a solo game instead. Something that I can just pause if I really want to finish a sentence or something. Because playing Apex, is requiring a lot of my brain, so I can't talk right. So if you guys want to submit any ideas for games, I already have some games planned. It's just I kind of want to get an idea of what you guys want also. That, and I also thought about at the beginning of every episode, like say a song of the day. I might not play it because I don't want to do any, you know, how the fuck do you editing on this? There's streams. I can't edit them, and I don't want to play it on my phone because SoundCloud is going to be really bad. But I might start every one of these, you know, streams with, you know, a song that I really like and why I like it right now. And yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. See y'all in the next one. And I love y'all to a certain point. Hope everybody enjoyed. Alright, see you people in the next one.